くぞ。
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo, and today we're going to have a little fun with my boy Rugal. But before we get into that, I just want to remind you guys, if you did buy this New Year's Pass, make sure you go ahead and collect whatever you have in here, just to make sure. I know it's easy to forget about some things, so I just wanted to make sure to remind any of you that did buy that pass to go ahead and collect all of your goodies. So we're going to have some fun with Rugal in Guild Raid. Rugal versus Rugal. And so far, the best score I've done is with my boy Rugal. I was able to hit 412 million with this team, with these strikers. And so let's talk about it and explain this a little bit. So, you know, Iori for the leadership, which increases the attack fighter's attack by 60%. I do have a Tekken set on him to really jump up his CP. I got a PG gain card, and then I got the Kazuma card for the extra CP as well, critical rate, critical damage, and so on. As far as imprint stones, actually, if you had 3 of these stones here, it would be really the best way to go. Maybe some other stone, but that would be my opinion, because this one here is just giving HP and attack, and these other two are, this is giving HP and attack, and this is giving double attack. So actually, these 2 stones could be replaced with extra attack. I could get another 20% extra attack if these 2 stones were like this one right here. So keep that in mind in this run. Dellen, of course, we all know how powerful Dellen is. Oh, by the way, Okita is an amazing striker because he gives us extra critical damage by 30% for 10 seconds. I realize not all of you have Okita. I realize not all of you have Dellens, but I just want to have a little fun with Rugal and just show off his power. And this really is the best team to go with when you're doing that. Dellen, of course, because of his darkness, max imprint stones. Leah set. I do like to use the Leah set, even though he can reset his first skill when doing the second skill. I mean, you can actually build up your PG fast enough. You don't need a Leah set. It's just I like having the set just in case Rugal does his bullcrap explosion. Then I can just go into my skills again, because it hopefully will reset all of my skills. And then I got a PG card on him as well. And I do have this darkness card. Honestly, you don't need it. You could just use another PG card instead to rack up his PG. And really, from all the testing I've done, this card really doesn't seem to help. But I thought I'd put him on him. I do have it. It does give the extra CP. It does give the extra increased burn darkness damage by 25%. The critical damage by 15%. Critical by 4%. Really, it's just bumping up Dellen's CP is really what it's doing more than anything. I mean, we are getting the extra darkness, but the CP is really where it's at. And then as far as my boy Rugal, I do have him maxed out, level 50. I am using this set right here, which is the Transcendental Being set. That gives the extra 35% increased attack to boss fighters, which Rugal is. And then we also get the PvP exclusive, gains 2% power when a boss fighter uses an active skill on a 1-second cooldown. Honestly, the PG gain is not important here at all, because when you play with Rugal, you actually want to be focusing on using his skills. You want to be spamming his skills to really do the optimal damage. I am using this option card that he has with the increased attack, decreased cooldown, and the 50% chance to increase attack by 30% for 5 seconds upon landing a strike skill. Now, the bad thing about this card is it's only for a strike skill. You could actually put out some different cards where, and I did really well with these as well, where I used, I mean, you want to have max cooldown, guys, for sure. So if you are going to put a card here that's going to have for extra attack, make sure it's a card that has cooldown. For example, like the Immortal Successor card, which would be pretty good. Honestly, it increases active skill damage by 8%, and you're going to be spamming your skills. You do get the cooldown, so this actually could be a really good card. And then this card here, actually, that we got for free during the 7 Nights collab, you get the increased attack, you get the decreased skill cooldown by 1 second, And that 0.2 seconds does make a difference, but you do also get the increased attack by additional 10% for 5 seconds and grants super armor for 1.5 seconds. So when you're dropping in, that annoying thing that Rugal does when he does his bull crap genocide cutter, and he throws it up in the air when you're dropping down from being tagged in, that won't happen. He won't kick you around because you're going to have super armor as soon as you get tagged in. This is actually a very good card, especially for Eileen. And I do have max imprint stones. I mean, he's all jacked up, decked up. But the thing about Rugal that's insane is not only is he a cost 65 character, which means his native stats are just insane, but he just has this double attack. You got the double attack on the first, you get the increased attack by 35% here, and you got the increased attack by 27% here. So whenever you're just doing these skills, spamming the hell out of them, your attack is just building and building and building, and you're just doing insane damage. Especially this one that lasts for 10 seconds, the God Press. It is insane how much power this guy can generate. Now, he isn't the best for the guild raid. Honestly, I do believe that Eileen is the best. This girl right here. But I actually find that she's extremely inconsistent so far from the practicing I've done. I've done a bit of practicing with her, but I really need to practice her a little bit more, get her rotation down, get the timing of the skills down a little bit better, because she really is the best. And maybe if I do another video about her in Guild Raid, I'll talk about that. But Rugal's just a lot easier. He's way more consistent, and he's a lot easier so far from the testing that I've done. He's not better than her. I don't think he's better. I think Eileen's numero uno. This girl's gotten 740 million in Guild Raid with his exact same team, just switching out Rugal for Eileen. But I do believe Rugal is number 2. I do believe he is the second best. He's definitely better than Genitz by a large margin. With this exact same team, with my Genitz all maxed out, I was getting, maybe 300, 320, 330 million. I can consistently get 400 million with this team. And actually, I could probably do even better than that. Rugal is absolutely insane. The other thing that I like about Rugal is whenever you're playing him and you're spamming his skills, you're not spending as much time playing the game mode. So if you're under time restrictions, which I am, this kind of character is actually a lot better. So I've already pre-recorded the 412 million run, and that is what we're going to watch. So let's jump into the action and let's rock and roll. All right, so whenever I play with Iori, I don't bring in Okita right away because there's a 30-second tag-in cooldown. So I just run through my 3 skills, and then I switch to Delon, build up his 3PG, and then you'll use the default 3PG. That way you're applying darkness. You want to end on darkness. So we apply the darkness. Now we're going to switch to Rugal, and we're just going to start going to it. There we go. And I brought in Lady Geese, added a little extra damage. Then we switch back to Iori, build up his 5BG. I brought in Okita, so that way we're getting that extra 30% critical damage while we're doing our ultimate skill, which is doing tremendous damage. Iori might not have much survivability, but his damage really is undeniable. And then we just run back in. We're going to do our 3PG with this guy, with Delon. We're going to apply. We're going to switch to Rugal. Yeah, do your bullcrap explosion. There we go. Now I'm doing my 3PG. Now I broke Rugal. We went ahead and stunned him because we broke the meter. We're going to go ahead and switch to Iori, build up his 5PG, and go ahead and get it in real quick. And I find when I do this team that I seem to do better when I do it the first 2 rotations, I do it this way. You can stall the timer, like whenever you bring in Rugal, the first time you bring him in, you can wait a couple seconds, then bring in Iori. And that way when you bring in Rugal the next time, you'll have your awakened skill ready. But I find I just do more consistent and better when I just do the first 2 rotations the way I'm doing it in this video. And then when I bring in Rugal the 3rd time, I start spamming his skills like what I'm doing here. And I really find that I just do the most damage when I do it that way. Okay, so we just poured it on. We're going to switch to Delon. And you got to remember when you're using Delon to make sure that you use the first skill before you use the second skill, because the second skill will reset the first skill. Let's go. Boom. Ooh. So now we're going to use our 5PG. And it really is kind of all over the place. We did do damage to him, but now we're using our 3PG from Rugal. It's kind of, honestly, it's like when I'm playing with Rugal, it's almost quite sporadic. You know, like there is a rotation as far as what I'm doing here, but it's not set in stone. I do kind of like when I play him, I do kind of go by feel, and it really depends on when you know, the guild raid Rugal, when he does the explosion. You know, a lot of the way that I play this is I just watch when he's doing his explosion, and if he does his explosion, the next rotation around he won't, and then the rotation after that he will. At least that's the way it generally seems to happen. It doesn't seem like he's on some set timer or anything like that, which honestly kind of sucks. It makes this really RNG based and very difficult to play at times. I mean, the same team, I could do like 320 million on a bad run, but on a good run you could maybe get 450 million, and that's the difference, you know. And by the way, this bastard Rugal here, Guild Raid Rugal, can actually do his explosion when he's stunned. If y'all want to see that, I'll gladly show that in another video, but he can do his explosion when he's stunned, which is bull crap. He should not be able to do that. Now, you don't see it in this run, but in other runs I did when I was practicing this, he did. Bastard. And it was pretty freaking annoying. And by the way, whenever earlier I was talking about whenever I, like if you go through rotation, you bring in Iori, you bring in Dellen, then you bring in Rugal, and if you bring in Rugal, you break Guild Raid Rugal's meter, and then you just keep BS Rugal in there for a couple more seconds, let the Awaken skill cool down a little bit longer, you will find that in the next rotation, Rugal, Guild Raid Rugal, will blow up when he's stunned. It happened to me multiple times. It was ridiculous. Come on. Come on. And, you know, in this method, we're not really trying to stall the timer per se like we normally do. And I just lost Iori, which sucks. But it's all good. It's all good. Now we're going to bring in Rugal. We're going to break that meter, and we're going to use our Awaken skill. And you really want to have that Awaken skill ready to go whenever you bring him in. And check it out, guys. I mean, look at this. And if Iori wouldn't have died, we would have done even better. And then that explosion just screwed me. So I probably would have gotten 430 million, 450 million if my Iori wouldn't have died, and if Peckerhead wouldn't have done that explosion right there, right before we did our ultimate skill, bastard. And, you know, whenever you're playing Guild Raid, that's just how it is. You know, there's a lot of RNG, and sometimes you might have to play this 20 million times, which is not something I like to do, which is why, so far from all the testing I've done, I've really just preferred to use Rugal amongst any other character for my damage dealer with Iori and Dellen. So let me know if you all are using Rugal, and let me know how you're doing with him. Also, let me know how you're doing with Eileen as well, and what level she is, what level your Rugal is. And also let me know what characters you've gotten, what cards you've gotten. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one.